Today we're breaking down the White House VA Hotline, what it was created to do, and what your rights are when you call in a complaint.
The White House VA Hotline is supposed to give veterans, caregivers, and family members a direct way to report serious issues at the Department of Veterans Affairs. It's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and staffed by real people, many of whom are veterans themselves. The mission is simple. Listen to veterans, document complaints, and escalate them to leadership for real action and accountability.
So, can an agent legally refuse your complaint? Can they edit it, mark it as a duplicate, or twist your words? Absolutely not. That is a violation of multiple federal laws and VA policies. Let's look at the rules that protect your right to be heard. 38 CFR Section 3.103 Due Process. Veterans have the right to submit complaints and evidence and have them fairly considered. Refusing or altering complaints violates this right. VHA Directive 1003.04, 2023, VA staff must record all complaints accurately, assign a case number, and ensure the issue is addressed. Complaints cannot be rewritten or dismissed without cause. The Federal Records Act 44 U.S.C. Chapters 21 to 33. Your complaint is a federal record. Tampering with it can be a criminal offense. 5 U.S.C. Section 2302 Whistleblower Protections. If an agent tries to suppress a report of misconduct, you are protected. That's retaliation, and it's illegal.
Now, listen for yourself. Here's actual audio of a White House VA hotline supervisor in action. You're about to hear how these calls really go down. This recording speaks for film frames itself. Prepare yourself.
I had one, Sarah, who wanted to debate with me. Janice yelled at me. And Lee, he just stopped interacting, and I still have my other phone going. It's on 40 minutes right now. They just stop interacting. It's a bizarre thing. So here we go, the complaint summary. I'm submitting this formal complaint. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So I'm submitting this formal complaint to report a serious breach of VA policy concerning the closure of White House VA hotline complaint. So how does this work? How does this work? Do you write this down, or?
And what case specifically was closed incorrectly?
Does that matter? Because I just need to file the complaint. Is this a situation where I tell you the complaint number and then you decide if I can file the complaint, or can I file the complaint?
So I would need the specific details of what you're referring to, which is why I asked that question.
Yeah, no, and I have absolutely no problem whatsoever providing it. It's just after I give the information in the past, what's happened is the people I've tried to file a complaint with don't address my complaint or write my complaint. What they do is try to resolve the issue in the complaint, and then they decide on their own the resolution of the complaint and then hang up on me. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not quite sure I'm following. So why don't you give me kind of the background there, what's going on, so that I can maybe understand a little bit better?
Sure. I try to file a White House complaint, and then your employees at the White House complaint line make a decision
about?
Again, I'm submitting a formal complaint to report a serious breach of VA policy concerning the closure of White House complaints. So I need to know if I can do that without getting hung up on, as previously happened multiple times.
Like I said, we're proceeding here. I'm trying to document what's going on here.
Okay, so that's what you're doing right now?
This previous complaint.
All right. Well, I'm just flustered right now because I'm in awe of the way I've just been treated. So, bear with me here. I'm going through a lot of trauma because of the way I was just treated. So, again, form of a complaint on this closure. The case number is 135-74601. This case was closed without any notification to me, no communication of resolution, and without identification of the VA employee or office responsible. The closure was attributed only to the PATS R system, which is simply a database system, not a human being or department or accountable office. This violates multiple VA directives and constitutes a failure of procedural due process and accountability. Now, will you be giving me a different number at the end of this?
No, because those concerns that you have about the closure of that are active and in progress at this time. So we would not be able to create a new case.
So here, can you tell me in what case number are you addressing the issue of the wrong closure, of the unjust closure of this complaint?
Absolutely. So that would be under 13605-426.
Okay. Right now, I am looking at that complaint, and I see nothing in that complaint that refers to an improper closure of a case number to your system.
Well, that was documented specifically in that case there.
Excuse me?
That was documented there in that case.
I'm looking at that complaint right now.
As am I. And that I have it
And
here on my screen.
nowhere in there does it say the wrong closure of case number 1354601.
That case is specifically notated there, and it does mention the incorrect closure of, so.
When was this case filed?
Sure. So it looks like that case was created on the 13th, the one that I'm looking at here.
Okay. Can you please tell me where it says it? Because I'm looking at the complaint that I filed, and I do not see that written any place about case number 135-74601.
Sure. So it was documented specifically in the case notes.
Okay. What do you mean case notes? What are case notes?
The notes taken specifically about the case.
Okay. I have not filed a complaint that addressed this issue yet.
Well, again, the specific issue that you're mentioning is being addressed under this case.
Okay. And what about this? See, then this is part of the problem. So, at what point is it okay or proper for your employees, such as Lee, Sarah, or Janice, to hang up on me or simply stop responding in the conversation?
So, as far as when would it be proper, there's a number of different procedures that could take place that would require the disconnection of the telephone call.
Okay, and what are they?
Improper behaviors and disruptive speech and actions taken in the call.
That's great, because what I do is I have my GoPro going right alongside of the telephone, showing none of those things have happened. So, have any of those claims been made about my phone calls?
So I was not in any of those previous calls to say whether or not that took place or not. But if you'd like those calls to be reviewed, they can definitely be done so.
I would like those calls to be reviewed. And then I would like to file a White House complaint on the fact that your employees are not following proper procedure. Are you going to refuse to file that?
I'd be more than happy to create that case for you specifically. And those interactions all took place today, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And around what time would those have taken place?
Between 4 and 5:30.
Alrighty, and that's Eastern time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we gotta get past this, you guys refusing to let me file a White House complaint. And then you're saying that in this one complaint, 136-05426, that I have addressed this complaint again. That is a duplicate. And when I'm sitting right in front of the complaint that I filed, and nowhere do I mention in 54626 the 4601.
Well, there are notes specifically mentioning that previous.
Okay, so those are notes. That's not in my complaint. Those are your notes. Those are not my. That's not my complaint.
Those are in the case notes. Those were in the case notes, like I said.
All right, those are in the case notes. That's not in my original complaint.
Those notes were added when the case was created.
Okay, again, when I created the case, that information was not there. That was added afterwards. And so what are we going to do about this? Because you cannot merge cases like that.
So the case is active and in progress, so we're not going to be able to create a new concern regarding that matter there. However, in these issues specifically with these previous agents, you said this took place between 4:30 and 5:30, is that correct?
Okay, so I need to address the differences between case number 135-75037 and 135-74601. There are major differences between those two cases.
No, I'm sorry. So what we're addressing at this time specifically is your interactions with these previous agents.
Great.
And then,
all right, so I'll get to that. Yeah, I'm going to get to that right after this.
No, I'm sorry. So we've already discussed that, and we've moved on.
No. I'm asking you, what is the difference between case number 135-74601 and 135-75037? There's a big difference between the two complaints that I have filed, and I'm asking what the differences are between them, if any.
Absolutely, and I'll be happy to look at that here with you here in a moment once we get this finished up here. So then, again, back to it specifically. So you said that those conversations took place with Lee.
Yeah,
Sarah,
I can't discuss that right now because I haven't had the first issue resolved yet.
Okay. So if we're not able to proceed, that is one of those times when that would be considered disruptive behavior, and the conversation may be terminated.
What do you mean?
I would be happy to proceed. I would be happy to proceed here with you if we can continue addressing those previous interactions so we can get back to what we had already discussed.
Okay, so I would like to take things in chronological order. So I called initially about these two cases, and I'm asking you about these two cases now. What in these cases are the same?
interactions.
Okay, so now I've talked about these cases and I have more questions about them.
Okay. I'd be happy to get back to that here in a moment with you. So in your interactions...
Yeah, can I speak with your supervisor?
So I am the supervisor...
No, you misunderstand. I was asking to talk to your supervisor.
Correct, and I'm telling you, I am the supervisor available to you.
Yeah, no, you misunderstand.
I'm supervisor.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, no, I'm being perfectly clear. If you need a different supervisor...
No, I said I didn't hear you.
Hang up and call back.
I didn't hear you because the phone was going in and out.
Okay. So again, I am the supervisor available to you at this time. If you need a different supervisor, you're more than welcome to disconnect and call back.
Okay, and why would you can't transfer me to, why couldn't you transfer me to a different supervisor or your supervisor?
Because I am the supervisor available to you at this time.
Okay. And what is your policy on that when someone asks you for your supervisor?
I am the supervisor I'm the supervisor you will be speaking to at this
Oh,
time.
did you say in the queue?
Correct. So as far as I am the supervisor in this conversation, I do not have a supervisor to get you to.
Okay.
So when your call came to me on the supervisor line, that is how I got you, and I am the supervisor available to you at this time.
Okay. So who is your supervisor?
So I am the supervisor available to you. I'm not permitted.
No, I'm just asking who your supervisor is.
Correct, and I'm telling you, I'm not permitted to give you those details. I am the supervisor available to you at this time.
Why aren't you permitted to tell me?
According to our policies.
What policy is that? What directive?
So it is our specific in-house policies for our organization. I don't have a specific directive at this time.
Oh, so it's just a personal thing that you do then, or is it written down
Not
someplace?
for me. This is for our organization. And again, I can give you my information.
What organization? What organization is that?
Yes, with the VA Hotline, which is part of the Veterans Experience Office, which is part of the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs VA Central Offices.
Okay. So I'm just trying to get some basic information. Now, I mean, you say that the 135-74601 is the same as 135-75037, and I would like you to explain to me how they're similar.
So that's not what I said, and also we're discussing your previous interactions here. So I do want to give you another warning specific that if we're not able to proceed in this matter, I will disconnect this call.
Well, I can't stop you from making a choice. I mean, that's completely up to you. But I would like to discuss the differences between these two cases.
Sure, and I'd be happy to try to look at that if we can address the specific matter at hand here, which is your previous interaction.
Yes, where can I submit the videotape to so you could see hear the interaction?
Sure. So we would be able to review those interactions on our side with the recorded phone calls. So
I would like to submit, and so since I gave you the time frame, you should be able to look that up. So would you like me to submit my videos as well?
Again, not necessarily, but I do appreciate that.
You're welcome. I really I appreciate you being grateful, and like I said, it's no problem for me to do it. So at any time you want to give me do you have an email?
We don't have an email to provide. I'm sorry.
Well, there must be some kind of way that I can help you do this.
Again, we don't need those videos, but I do appreciate it.
Okay. So what other information do you need other than the videos that you have already to go over the behavior of your staff?
Again, I just want to make sure that I get the details down so we can get that.
Okay, so I've given you the names of the person and the time period. What other information did you need?
Well, that's what I wanted to identify, the correct time. So you said it took place between 4:30 and 5:30 today, is that right?
Between 4 and 5:30, and I gave you the names. What else did you need?
Yes, So what specifically was, I know you said that the calls were apparently disconnected on, there was inappropriate following of procedure, you said. What was going on there?
I don't know how else to explain that. How else would you like me to explain it? My words are very specific.
Okay. And they are specifically describing an action that took place. I'm asking you what was taking place there.
A conversation trying to file a White House complaint. And all of that could be answered by simply listening to the tapes as well.
Correct, and that will be done once this concern regarding their interactions is completed.
Okay. Are you complete yet?
An understanding.
Okay.
Not yet. That's why I'm asking these questions.
Okay. So you asked, what other questions do you have?
Okay. And again, so you said that they were inappropriately following procedure and doing so how?
I don't understand the question.
So what actions were they doing that was inappropriately following procedure?
Yeah, I don't understand the question. They weren't following procedure is what the issue is, and that's outlined in the recordings. I don't know what else you're looking for.
Sure. So what procedure were they not following? Is what I'm asking.
Oh, there's multiple directives, and if you need a list of them.
Okay, please.
VHA Directive 1003.04.
Okay, and how were they not following that directive?
Oh, it's in the recording.
Okay. And again, those will be reviewed specifically once we're finished our conversation.
Well, there are other policies that they violated.
Absolutely, and I want to document those as well.
Oh, that's great. Is there anything else that you needed?
Yes. How were they specifically not following that VHA directive?
I don't understand what you're asking. But but all those questions could be answered by simply reviewing the video. I don't know what else to say because I'm not understanding specifically what you mean.
Sure. So you're saying that they're not following this directive. I want to understand what they do.
So I mean that
was not following that directive.
Yeah, no. My words are very specific.
Yes.
So not following the directive is what they were doing.
Okay. And so that their behavior was counter to the directive in what way?
By not following the directives. Okay. I know you're looking for another word. I feel like it's kind of patronizing that you repeatedly ask me these questions. I don't know how else to answer you. I feel like you're trying to gaslight me, and I don't appreciate it.
I'm trying to understand.
So am I, Chris. So am I.
Sure.
So what else would you like me to tell you?
Absolutely. So what behaviors were taking place that made you feel like they were not following that directive?
The directive itself.
Okay. And so that what were they doing?
Not following the directive.
How were they not following the directive?
That's in the video.
Okay. And again, we do not have a way of receiving the video.
Well, you said you had the recordings?
Correct.
Okay.
But so I've not had a chance to review the recording.
So if you want, did you want to get back to me? Did you want to get back to me afterwards?
No, like I said, I'm speaking to you currently. I want to know how they were not following that directive.
Again, I don't know how else to explain that to you. Did you want to continue to ask me that question? Because I don't know how to answer it, and I don't understand why you cannot accept my answer. So I don't know. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm just trying to make sure I'm following what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Because if my child comes to me and says that their sibling
I'm
hasn't
sorry,
followed the rules,
Chris, am I, so hold on. Am I a child?
not at all. But I'm trying
Please,
to explain the situation
sir,
of what
I'm
I'm
really,
looking for.
I feel uncomfortable with talking about children with you.
Okay. Well, that is the specific example there. But I can give you a different one if that's helpful. So if
No,
my
I don't
sister
think it
comes
would
to
be
me and
helpful
says
because
that
you're not explaining yourself.
I am explaining myself, and I was just doing so in a different example.
And I was answering
So
your question, but you just keep on repeating the same question. I don't understand why you're doing that.
so I can document it and explain what the specific violation was.
Great.
So again,
Well, I'm
So
trying.
if my
I'm
soldier
trying. I've
comes to
explained
me-
that to you.
but you haven't, which is why I'm continuing to try to give it in examples that you may understand, because it doesn't seem like you're able to follow.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm
if
trying
my-
to.
if
Well,
my-
let me give you an example. When someone says no, it means no. So if someone says do you want a candy bar, and they say no, you don't try to give them that candy bar. You respect what they say and you respect their wishes, and you don't give them to them. I mean, is that a good example for you?
Okay. So, in that you refused to answer a question and the agents were not accepting a refusal?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. Sure. And again, I'll be specific.
Yeah,
with what I'm trying
because
to
what
capture
I
here.
said about the candy bar has nothing to do on how they acted. No, I thought we were just giving examples to each other.
Okay. And I was able to follow that. So again.
I know. Well, I don't
if
think you
my-
were, because that's not what I meant by that.
Okay. Then what is it that you meant by that?
To give you examples.
Okay. Is that an example of what took place?
No, it's just an example.
Okay. Well, could you give me an example of how they did not follow Directive VHA 0103.04?
Sure. What you could do is go ahead and read that directive, and then compare it to the video, and you'll see the discrepancies.
Okay. And again, I've not had a chance to review the video, and that review
Great.
will be reviewed after our conversation.
Is there a
I am
reason why?
asking you
Is there a
to
reason why you
specifically-
keep repeating yourself?
Yes, because we would need those examples. We would need some kind of information.
Yeah, I know. And
as far as what was done.
the answer to your question is, it's in the video. That's the answer. Okay?
So again, that's not specifically an answer.
Yes, it is. It's the answer that I'm giving. It's very specific.
Okay.
That's the only
But what
answer.
I'm saying is
That's the only answer that I will be giving you. So, I mean, I could repeat it to you,
Okay.
but
Well,
that is my
helpful.
answer. That is my answer.
Okay. Well, that is helpful, because if you can't provide specific examples,
I
and that
gave
is
you
the
a
example
very
you're giving
specific
me,
example.
We're
And
not
it's covered
going to be
in the
able to
video.
address that, because
I didn't
there's
think you
not
were.
There's not specifically examples or allegations being made of misconduct. It's just saying that they
Yeah,
didn't
no,
do
I
something.
didn't think you would take that seriously or review the video.
I'm trying to, and I'm trying to document specifically.
I know you're
what took place
trying.
so
You're
that
trying.
could
I
be
understand you're trying to do something. What that is, I don't know.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is document what you're saying that they did, so that when
Okay.
we review the video, that can be determined.
But that
whether or
doesn't.
not
That doesn't stop. The case 135-74601 at all, compared to 135-75037. I understand you don't want to talk about that, and that's okay. But repeatedly asking me the same questions is not going to deflect or redirect the conversation from these two cases. And the fact that you won't file a new case for me?
And again, I'd be happy to get into that specific for you. And like I said, I'd be more than excited once we get this addressed one thing at a time.
Great.
I don't want to end up...
So I've answered your questions. Let's get through with that.
But
Are you here?
The question hasn't been answered. That's what...
Do you want me to get someone else on the line to help you?
No, there's no need. Again, if you can give me examples of how they specifically failed to follow the directive, that's all that we need there.
Okay.
Would you be able to give examples of how the directive was not followed?
I did.
Welcome to the Department of Veterans Affairs. If you are having thoughts of suicide...
Well, I will say, if you're going to engage in other conversations, I would need to disconnect the call.
I'm not in another conversation. That's my computer.
Okay. Well, again, it sounds like it is another conversation. I don't know.
No, here, I could shut the recording off.
Okay. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, go ahead. And I would appreciate it if you accept my answer that I gave you. He just wants to talk. He's just going in loops now.
So again, could you give examples specifically of how your policy was not followed?
What answer do you want me to give you? I understand you want to continue the conversation in loops, but because the other people hung up, and you know.
I want to be able to document specifically what you said took place in those interactions. And
Yeah,
at
I'd
this
like
point,
to
you're not
file a White House
telling me
complaint.
anything that took place. Okay. So it does sound like you're in the middle of a
All right, thank you.
conversation, so I will disconnect this call. I thank you for
I'm
calling.
sorry,
the
what did you
Department of
say?
Veterans Affairs.
I'd like to file a White House complaint.